Welcome to the Honest Discussion with Life with Leah, where we speak honestly but responsibly. Hey, welcome to the Honest Discussion, the final episode of the series. I have had an amazing time doing them. Literally, when I was pushed, when the guys were saying to me, we need to switch it up a little bit, go from audio to visual. This is my worst nightmare. But I've actually pushed myself to become better. And for those of you who are not on visual and you're on Spotify or Apple or Anchor or whatever audio platform you're on, you can't see the transition between me sitting on a desk and me doing this from the sofa. Listen, I have been so chilled on the sofa. I felt like I've been talking to people in my own living room, which is what I do daily. Yeah, so it's been an interesting season, and it's been interesting not just for my podcast. It's been interesting just revisiting the book and pulling out lessons that I learned that I truly, I'm telling you, this is, if you haven't got your Christmas presents, Christmas is around the corner, this book will not fail you. And I think that I can say so myself with confidence, because not only are they the words that I wrote down from lessons that were true, that I had gleaned, but even reading it again, it continuously challenges me to become a better version of myself, because you learn in full truth, in increasing truth. And I have read my book maybe 2 or 3 times just preparing for this, and it has really helped me. So yeah, I've enjoyed myself. I'm not sure if I'll be doing this again, visual, audio, whatever, but this has been amazing. I love my sofa. I might come back on the sofa, lying back down and talking to you like on when you go to the counselor's couch or something. But I don't know. That's 2020. Today I want to talk about finding peace. I want us, as we close this series, finding peace. I talked about you're the first lead that you will ever encounter. You're the first leader that you've ever encountered. There'll be giants in your world. There's the cost of speaking out. There's cost of every decision that you make. The pain of losing friends, being betrayed, and people not standing up for you, people not celebrating you. But I just want to close this by just saying, let's find peace. And the only way I felt that I would find peace is maybe just share the few lessons that I learned in my journey with my book, but also what 2020 has brought to me. So in spite of what you've been, before I say anything else, I want to say with confidence that you will be okay. I can say with confidence, because of the benefit of experience, age, and everything that I've been through, that you will be okay, because storms are a part of life. We were never designed to live on this earth stormless. Storms are a part of life, but we are equipped to ride that storm. We were designed to ride the waves, and it doesn't matter how powerful that wave comes to you. You have to believe that you can ride it and do it. You see, the turbulence you have, whatever turbulence that you feel, you have the mental capacity, and you have to believe that you have that mental capacity to ride that wave. And if you don't believe anything else, you have to remember, Life with Leah said, it's going to be okay. That's our mantra. It's going to be okay. So, number one, I just wanted to leave you with what thing that I learned is, whatever you've been through, whatever season that you're going through, that you have to get a word for that season. For me, it's about getting a scripture. But for you, it could be a favorite book, a favorite hymn, a favorite podcast. But you have to get a positive word that speaks to your situation in that season to help you ride that storm. So whatever you do, get a scripture, get a word from that season. And for me, I love that scripture. I'll be like a tree planted by the riverside, that I'll yield my fruits in season, that whatever I'll do will prosper. I paraphrase it. It's not exactly, don't come to me with theological correction, but that's the scripture I love in Psalm 1. What's your favorite song that will pull you through the darkness? What's your favorite preacher, speaker that will pull you out and give you a word? Get a word for your season. Not only should you get a word for your season, but we've all encountered hurt at one point or the other. I want to strongly advise that we need to distance ourselves from the source of our pain. This is not where I'm talking about reconciliation and forgiveness or whatever, but if you're constantly sitting at the well where you're drinking from a well of pain, then I want to just say to you, as we close 2020, distance yourself from that source of pain. Sometimes you just have to. Sometimes you have to. It might not be physically, but you have to mentally at least distance yourself, because you cannot get well if you keep drinking from that well of pain. You have to keep placing your hand. You see, it's like you keep placing your hand in the fire and getting shocked that you keep getting burnt. At some point, you need to make a decision to say, either I switch off this fire or I remove my hand and walk away from it. Walk away, draw a line, be okay with moving on. It's okay. So not only are you getting a word for your season, you're distancing yourself from the source of pain. I also want to say, allow yourself time to heal. Sometimes people will tell you, what, this is what's happening. You just have to X, Y, Z. Unless they've actually walked your walk and they're designed exactly like you will travel through this process at your own pace. I'm not saying getting stuck. What I'm saying is allow yourself time to move on. Don't force the moving on. Don't try and tell yourself you're better when you're not, because it only downstream becomes worse for you. Just allow yourself self-care. Put yourself number one on the list. You see, you must be a priority on the list of your life. Just cut yourself some slack and take care of yourself. Spend time with you. Spend time for you and treat yourself. I went through a season where I could bless everybody else, but I kind of felt guilty about looking after myself. Listen, take care of you. It doesn't need to be a big thing in terms of treating. What is it that you like? Do you like chocolate? Do you like sweets? Do you like watching a movie? Whatever it is, just carve yourself time for you. And then the fourth lesson I learned is be prepared to do the work, because sometimes when things happen, it's very easy for us to look externally and blame everybody else for why we are there, and it might be the right place to sit that blame, but the truth of the matter is that we cannot grow if we don't do the work. What do I mean? That being stuck is a choice that we choose. Being stuck at the well of that pain is the choice that we make on ourselves. It is our responsibility to let go. Keep rehashing the old pain, and you cannot heal. We cannot expect healing if we keep speaking the old record of pain. At some point, you need to say, I'm going to let it go. Yes, what they did was wrong to me. I'm going to let it go. What they said, I'm going to let it go. What they keep doing, I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to put distance with them. So we get a word on a season, we get our distance, we cut ourselves some slack, and we do the work. The fifth lesson that I learned was it's okay with not getting an apology. You see, there are a number of apologies I believe I'm owed. The operative word is I believe I'm owed. I'd be crippled by that pain if I kept waiting at the well of apology. If I kept waiting for them to come and say them sorry, I'll be crippled by it. You have to be okay. It doesn't get them off the hook. It doesn't mean that what they did was right. But you can not stop your life waiting for them to see the error of your ways. You need to recognize it was wrong. You need to make sure you put your distance, get a word for your season, cut yourself some slack, do the work in letting go, and it's okay. It's okay if they didn't say sorry. And the last thing I want to say to you, which I think is the most important that I learned, is forgive quickly. Forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. Forgiveness is not letting that person off the hook. Forgiveness is freeing yourself to live your life without the burden or the milestone around the neck of the pain that you didn't even ask for. I read somewhere, and I think it's very common, where it says unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That is not what we want for ourselves. Just with Christmas round the corner, forgive quickly. And I think that people make a mistake of thinking forgiveness is restoration of relationship or friendship. The two are not simulate. They're not, closely related. You can forgive, you can let go. It means that you wish that person well. You don't wish them ill, but you're saying, in order for you to come into my space, I will need to trust your word. I will need to trust you again with my pain and my world and my space. Forgive quickly. Restoration comes later. So I just want to say, just as we get to Christmas, that, we're closing 2020. But in order for us to move on to where we need to be, we are finding peace. And for me, I'm such a practical girl, and I thought how best to close this is just to lay down some practical examples that I have learned in my journey, in 2020, in my book, Lids, Cracking the Glass Ceiling. And until the next series, next season, whatever we're calling it, this has been the honest discussion. We continue to speak honestly, responsibly, and loving each other. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And make sure that you pop onto Amazon and buy your copy of Lids.